Welcome back to BBB Sharing. I'm Evie, Director of Ignite, sparked by BBB. We are here in the Ignite podcast studio once again, and our lovely guest today, I almost said customer. You're not a customer, although we do get those phone calls as well.
That's right.
But our lovely guest today is from Collawn Construction. Welcome. Go ahead
Thanks,
and
Evie.
introduce yourself.
Hey, Evie, I'm Mike, and I'm with Collawn Construction here in Richmond.
Mike, you've been on the show before.
I have.
But since new office, new space, new year, fresh new start. So we're going to talk about, of course, construction, but we're going to get more into the depths of everything.
Okay.
So on top of the services that you provide, which I'll give you a chance to mention that as well for those that haven't seen the previous episode, let's go, dig a little deeper, dive a little deeper into the trends that you're seeing in the industry.
So construction this year's been interesting. With this last year, construction across the board in the United States right now is down about 38%. And we're seeing that across the board with people who've been a little more reluctant to start some of their major projects, buy new homes. But now as we roll into the first of the year, I think that trend seems to be easing up.
Good.
We're doing a lot of estimating for additions, kitchens, bath remodels. So I think people are finally seeing things come around for them. They're getting more comfortable to start moving forward in those products. And I think they see the added value of dollar for dollar if you do a kitchen, and dollar for dollar if you do a bathroom, adding square footage to your home. So I think people are starting to understand that it's not money going away; it's adding value to something they already have.
Right. And I think we're in a market now where a lot of people are trying to avoid buying new homes, or selling their house in general. They would rather just invest in the home they already live in.
Absolutely. I've got a customer currently that I'm working with, and it's kind of an interesting situation. He and his spouse both own homes, and rather than renovating one of the two homes to make it suit both of them, they decided to buy a third house. Sell the two houses, buy the third house. But I love their mindset on it. Rather than buying a brand new house that may not be built as solid, they're buying a 1920s house.
I love that.
Taking the money from the sale of two houses, and we're going to do a complete gut job renovation. So we got this amazing 1920s farmhouse with solid bones, and we're going to modernize the house,
I love
bring
that.
it to standard. So again, adding value to an existing property.
Right. Absolutely love that. What are some of the external factors you notice that kind of cause that 38% downfall?
That's a tough question. Excuse me.
Usually I'm not one for tough questions, but that one kind of piqued my interest, especially 2025. I feel like was a weird year in general.
I think politics certainly play a role in people spending.
Right.
Obviously, I'm not a financial analyst, but I think the stock market plays a big factor in that. I think there's so many factors
There's
that are
like a domino.
way above my pay grade, that falls down. I mean, if people are out spending money, then they're certainly going to spend it on their homes and
Right.
their toys and everything else. But if people don't feel like it's a time to spend, then they're just not going to spend.
So tell me a little bit about the custom additions that you guys do.
So we do. So we're a full service general contractor, but we focus on remodel work. We don't do any new construction. And when I say new construction, I mean we don't build brand new homes. We specialize in remodel. So adding a deck, adding an addition, kitchens, baths. We do roofing. We do everything from the crawl space to the roof. We have plumbers, electricians, painters, everyone in house. So we can do everything. The only thing we don't do in house is HVAC, and we've got an amazing sub for that. So when we do an addition on a home, it's essentially a new build. And I think everyone has seen the trends of the TikTok inspectors where they find all these horrific problems in
Right.
homes. And those can be confusing because these are mass built homes
Right.
by companies that are coming in, and not to knock them, but they're subbing out to the lowest bidder to frame up 300 homes in a neighborhood, and they're on a deadline to get it done. That's not what we do. We're there to build a custom addition. It's going to be in-house crews building it. It's going to be done right, and of course, no matter what county we're in, we're going to have the permits, so it's going to be inspected by the local inspectors. And I can assure you that Henrico, Hanover, Richmond, Goochland, they don't They don't cut corners.
Mess around.
They don't mess around. A shout out to all the inspectors. They're good people. I don't want them ever knocking on my door. They're great people and they do a good job. And they're easy to work with too. So, but they will absolutely make sure it's done right, and they'll stop the job if you don't. So we pride ourselves on the fact that we don't fail inspections because we do them right the first time.
And perfect. And of course, being an accredited business, your guys' licenses are always up to date.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You make sure that every year, of course, you guys do a great job of keeping track of that too.
Yeah, we have a great relationship with D4. They offer some advanced classes, to further your education. I'm a huge believer in furthering yourself in education. So we do a lot with that. We just recently did a class with OSI to get certified for their particular brand of caulking and sealants. So anytime there's an opportunity for my guys to take a class, I love, continuing education.
I love that. Investing in your employees, I think, is one of the most valuable things.
Absolutely.
Not just as an employer, but for the employees themselves as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me about the trends that you're seeing as far as like additions being made to homes recently and why that's something that's popping up.
So something that's been very interesting, I've noticed over the last 2 years, we're seeing more and more of is older families adding additions for not really. It used to be they were adding additions for grandma and grandpa to come and move in, but now we're seeing they're adding additions for themselves to move into, so they can make space for children to move back in. And I don't, I'm not sure why this is, but I've seen a lot of it where they're saying, "Hey, my son and his new wife have got a child, and we want to move them in, keep everybody closer, so as we age, they can take care of us, or they can save money." So we're seeing a lot of that lately, which is strange.
That's fascinating to me because it really correlates well with the trends that I'm seeing a lot on social media with so many people my age, because I'm 30 years old. Don't tell anybody, but I'm 30 years old and I'm seeing a lot of people my age that are starting families and they're like, well, we can't really afford to buy a house right now and have a mortgage with the income that we have.
Yeah.
But moving in with mom and dad makes more sense because we'll be saving a little bit more while still contributing to like household bills and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the communal homes is definitely a trend that's going around. As you mentioned, you see it, in Facebook Reels and Instagram Reels of, the communal homes or even the communal properties where people are building, 2 or 3 houses on the same property and kind of just forming their own little community.
That's funny that you say that because, so my family's from Harrisonburg and we actually discussed, we have a bigger property that our current family home is on. My siblings want to build 2 tiny homes on that property.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't that cool? I bet it's so cool that you brought that up because that was just a past discussion that we were talking about.
In my dream scenario, I have 3 sons. In my dream scenario, my 3 sons would all live on the same property as me forever. So that, as they get married and have, grandchildren for us, I could keep everybody right there. But unfortunately, I don't think that's a reality for us. So.
It's crazy though, because I noticed that a lot of people are like, oh, like I don't really spend that much time with my parents, whereas I grew up spending all of my time with my parents. So I can't imagine not being around them all the time.
Yeah, and it's just, everyone's raised differently. We live, my wife and I, we live probably 1.5 miles from my parents. My little brother's, maybe 8 miles up the road. My older brother's, maybe another 4 or 5 miles the other direction. So we're all close. My uncles, my aunts. I mean, most of my family I was close with was within a 10-mile radius growing up. So we were always together.
Family is key.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So tell me about your guys' mission for 2026. What are some goals that you guys have?
Same thing we always do. We want to, continue to grow and reach new clientele. Since the day of the inception of this business, it's always been about, I want to do what I consider legacy work, quality construction that's going to last a generation. One of my, favorite memories of growing up was riding around with my parents and my aunt and uncle. And my uncle would always point at the house and say, I built that house. And I'll be 50 this year. And when I ride by those same properties and think, I knew my uncle built that house and he built it when I was a kid. So the house has been standing there for a long time. There's a lot of pride in that for me because I see that is still standing. It still looks as good as it did, 40 years ago. And my wife and kids give me a hard time because I do that. As a tradesman, I ride by and say, I put that roof on, or I built that addition, or I worked in that home. And I want to continue to do legacy work that will stand the test of time. Um, and, expanding to a certain degree. We don't want to be, one of these giant companies with 80 employees where we can't focus on our customers. Our goal is to stay a small enough size that we can have personal relationships with all of our clients so we can give them the best product we can give them.
I think that's wonderful. And I think that that's something that's really lacking nowadays. People love to see businesses like yourself that take so much pride in their artwork. It really is an art to be able to put your hands to something and make it last and stand
Absolutely.
still for a lifetime.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the way we're set up and designed is, of course, I go out and look at the jobs, and I put the numbers on them. Once everything decides to move forward, we have a project manager that steps in. Now, I don't step out of the picture at that point. I'm either going to come in the field with my crew on site and just to make sure things are being done correctly. Not that I don't think they would, but I like having my hands on. I'm going to be there discussing changes, design, things of that sort with the homeowners, just to make sure they're getting exactly what they want. If anything pops up. So it's a very hands-on process with my team, working with the homeowners to make sure that the end product is exactly what they want. And one of the things we pride ourselves on, and I mentioned it to every customer, is we dare them to go online and find a bad review. Because we pride ourselves so much on, we want to do whatever it takes to make you happy. And we want to give you the product that you were 100% happy with. Because again, it's our name on the line.
And that's confidence in your work. You know that you can stand behind all of the work that you guys do.
Absolutely. And that's why with roofing, for example, we give a lifetime warranty on a roof.
Really?
I have enough confidence in anything that I'm built that why wouldn't I warranty it? If I do a kitchen installation, it's a lifetime guarantee on that installation. Because I know I built things a certain way, and I know they're going to stand the test of time. And if they don't, then I'm going to absolutely come and take care of it, because it's my work, and I'm going to always stand behind my work.
That's wonderful. For people that are looking to do like extensions on their house and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that you would forewarn them about when they're looking for somebody to do that?
I think a big thing to do is number one, check and make sure they're licensed, make sure they have insurance. I refer to these guys as man with truck. And he's the shirtless guy that shows up with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and says, well, yeah, I can build it. And he may be able to build it, but God forbid something comes up. Can he insure it? Can he afford to fix the damage he's done to your home? If he does, or is he going to even show up? He's going to take your deposit. Always look out for those guys. But by the same token, I don't think people need to get fooled by the bells and whistles. And I'm not knocking anybody who has this in town, because I know there's some great companies that do this, but we've got a very modest office, because we have to have a place for our employees to work out of. But I've never felt that we need to have a glamorous office and a glamorous showroom, because that stuff costs money. And if I'm going to do that, then I've got to turn that over to a customer.
Right.
So sometimes those guys that are really, really big are probably going to take some flack for saying this. You're going to be more expensive, and it's not necessarily worth that expense, because what are you paying for?
Right. Not everything that glitters is gold.
Absolutely. So sometimes it's makes more sense to go with that company that doesn't have the massive showroom.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
How can people get in contact with you?
Of course, email, telephone, social media, Instagram, Facebook, pretty much any of the social media outlets we can be reached on.
Perfect. And I will have also all of that information in the description box.
Okay.
So that'll all be linked for everybody that's looking to get access or contact you guys. They'll have access to that in the description box.
Sounds good.
Everyone that is watching, if you're listening on BBB Central VA YouTube channel, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. It really helps the algorithm out. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or RSS.com, please follow us and share it out. Thank you.
Thanks, Stevie.
Thank you, Mike.